Must be ready. Let's... Oh, hey, there we are! Friends, welcome to Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry, the Let's Try program here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name is Ian, and joining me today is no one, because I do this program solo. Let's take you over to the kitchen here, the rest of the kitchen. Oh god, that's darker than I like. I want to fix that in a second. Hey! Ah! Oh, no, there we go. Friends, welcome to the show. I hope you are having a beautiful day here in wherever it is you are. It's hot in the kitchen right now, and it's going to stay that way because we are cooking. Today is going to be Udon Day. This is something I haven't done before, and well, I mean, it's a Let's Try program, right? So we're going to try. But you're probably familiar with udon. Udon is that... They're wheat noodles. They're the big chunky boys that you get at the Japanese restaurants and or at your local what do you call it, teppanyaki places, Japanese village, whatever. Big, thick, juicy, chewy noodles with just a touch of stretch to them. Delicious stuff. And I got the bug to actually make them a number of years ago when I was still living in Edmonton and watching one of my favorite Japanese animations, Space Brothers, which is a fantastic show and you should all watch it. It's a story of a boy, or a man, really, who once worked in the automotive industry, headbutted his boss for making fun of his brother, and decided that he needs to have a new career because he is now fired from being an auto designer, and then decides to follow in his younger brother's footsteps of being an astronaut, and takes you through a really interesting look through the astronaut recruitment and training process from a Japanese perspective, and in a very realistic manner. So it's something I highly recommend you watch. You can check it out if you're on the US. It's on Crunchyroll, High Dive, and Verve. If you're in the UK, check it out on Crunchyroll and High Dive. If you're in Canada, it's on Crunchyroll, and if you're in the Australian regions, check out Crunchyroll and also iDive, I believe. Actually, and that brings me to the point of why I'm talking about Space Brothers. Boom. Came across this little recipe because in Space Brothers, there's an episode where the younger versions of the characters, in teaching you how they got their passion for space, make udon with a local astronomer. And it's made using the feet. You stomp on it, you step on it to knead it, and we're going to do that today in this as well. So the recipe I've gone ahead and I've done a bunch of research into numerous different recipes from numerous different sources, and I've kind of just settled on an amalgamation of a bunch of them. So there's the recipe that's on the Itadakimasu blog. There's also this other one from No Recipes that I am going to use as well. Wasn't too happy with the ones that Just One Cookbook had because they didn't deal too much with the noodles, and Maki Ito just doesn't have pictures on her very old versions of her udon recipes. Though, if you're looking for good recommendations on Japanese, good, solid, traditional Japanese recipes, check out Maki Ito's blog over at not Just Hungry or Just Bento are the ones you're looking for. So, what do we want to do first in terms of getting things set up here? Let me just double check to make sure that this is not... yeah, it's still set to manual. Come on, you can do it. Auto yourself. There we go. All right, that's set up. Let's take us all over to the cooking zone, shall we? Hello, everybody. We're back here. And actually, before we actually get too much started here, let's go back and deal with our ingredients, because there's not much needed to do here with that. For the udon noodles, you don't need much. 3 ingredients, and that is all. It is an incredibly humble and simple dish. All you need is all-purpose flour. There are other flours that are available. You could go with udonko, which is a specific udon flour. You can go the fancy route of mixing hard flour and soft flour to make a halfway flour. But apparently, doing so with just the flour is enough. 1 second here. I also got to make sure to remember to thank people when they do things like Xanto69 throwing some bits down for us. Thank you so much, Xantos. So yeah, you're going to want something with more gluten potential. So a higher protein flour will give you a bit more chew, but all-purpose apparently is fine. The only difference is you end up with a little bit of a grayer noodle rather than a yellower noodle. So it'll be grayer or whiter. No problem there. You also need water. I assume you get your water from the same place I do, which is the sky, then the mountains, then eventually through some things into our taps and their faucets, then out the taps down to the ocean where it gets re-evaporated into the air, and that's the water cycle. So you need some water, and you need salt. Kosher salt will do, table salt will do. All you need is 400 grams of flour, 180 grams of water, 17 grams of salt, and one of the places I was looking at suggests potato starch, which is one of my favorite kinds of starch because it's not cornstarch. But that's going to be useful for keeping our noodles separated when we actually end up cutting the noodles and when we go to start rolling them out. So we need to get started on this because we need to let the noodles rest for a bit once we actually get them all kneaded up. And so we don't have much time before we get into that. So let's start by getting ourselves a nice big old bowl here. And then we're going to measure out 400 grams of flour. Let's do that right now. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do that. Come on. EV, just a bit lower on the EV. There we go. That looks good. And then let's bring you on over into cooking zone. Hey, ho, keep on talking. Don't stop. No, buddy beats the biz. Let's do a dance called the Pee Wee Herman. Let's walk that. Don't just walk that. Come on. Yes, there we go. Focus there. Oh, oh, oh. And brightness here. Hello. Goodbye. Where'd everybody go? Turn off manual. Okay, that seems good. All right, 400 grams of flour into the thing. You're not going to be able to see the number, but believe me, it's 400. Okay, now I gotta find a way of getting the chat up here next to the camera rather than over here with the with all the cooking apparatus. All right, 400 grams of flour. I was thinking about experimenting with the tipo, the 00 ground flour that I use to make pizza dough, but didn't have any left, and I thought, you know what, let's just use up some of what we got. Oh my goodness, are we going to just no-scope 400, just barely? We're at 3... Getting very close to the end of this bag, which is why I'm a bit worried. Okay, come on, just a bit more. Just a bit more. 397, 401. Well, I mean, we can make do with that. And we just got a little bit left for dusting, should we need it. By the way, beer tonight is the Stone Fruit Saison from Category 12 Brewing. Very, very stone fruity and saison-y. Dry AF. All right, next step is we need to dissolve our salt in water. So let's get a little bowl for doing just that. I always like to overuse my bowls here on the show. Let's zero tear that out. And let's start adding some kosher salt. Amount being 17 grams. Is the recipe posted above the one being used? Lady Ellers, it's not, but it's close enough. Like I couldn't find any sort of a consistency between the different recipes, so I just decided to amalgamate as best I could. But if you follow the recipe, it's listed above. That will probably get you the same results as what I'm doing here. And 180 grams of water. Let's get some cold water going. Good already. And as we mentioned before, thanks to the metric system, we can use weight, because 1 cubic centimeter of water equals 1 milliliter equals 1 gram. Ergo, if we want 180, that's right, 180 grams. 14? No, you're right. I did say 17. How did I miss that? I need to get 3 more grams of salt in there. Otherwise, it won't be salty enough. Perfect. All right. And then let's zero that out again and get 180 grams of water. Okay. Just a bit more. Hey, close enough, because we were 2 grams over for the flour, so I'm sure adding the same amount is exactly how ratios like this work. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a bit of a stir just to get the salt all mixed in. You know what I like to use for this, actually? I think I've got batteries in it again. Curses, I don't. What I love to use these sort of whisks for this, but still need to get me some double or some triple A's. We'll knock out the plastic inserts that mean I can't put double A's in it. Make it go fast. Okay. That looks like it's just about dissolved. There we go. We'll use that bowl again for something later. Okay, ooh, let's give that a bit more swirl. We just probably lost a gram there or so. That's fine. Now we're going to add the flour to the water in 4 stages, apparently. So add a bit there. And then we're just going to mix it around and incorporate that water until we get something that's starting to resemble a dough. Good. Add a bit more of that. I don't really work with dough all that often, so this is a bit of a interesting adventure for me. Whisk over. Okay, let's add that in there again. Oh, here we go. Now we're starting to clump up a bit. I don't like the feeling of stickiness on my hands, and that's unfortunately a fairly common aspect of baking. And yes, noodle making is baking. You're using flour and water and applying heat and letting things rise, create gluten, etc., etc. So that's all the water it gets, apparently. I feel like I've done something wrong? No. So I think we're going to want to get it out of here at this point for the kneading for the initial kneading portion. Alrighty. Let's get this out, dump it out, and give it a good starting knead. Which means we'll start with some water. Baking is a chemistry, says Lady Elios. I have a PowerPoint titled that. Yes. Baking is chemistry, indeed. I mean, I would also say there's a fair amount of physics involved, too. But let's get that all out there on the counter. It's science. That's the important point, too, I think. Oh, you used to teach cooking. I did not know that. That's really cool. I was going to say, I used to learn cooking, and that's not helpful at all. Still do sometimes. Let's see if we can try to incorporate all this dough together. Whoa. This is incredibly shaggy stuff. Home economics for 7 years. I have much appreciation for home economics teaching. The problem is, I think the issue is that we didn't get around to introducing trickle-down theory to home economics, and so it kind of got left in the wayside in terms of all these new new curricula. Okay. This part it's starting to feel more like dough, and that's good. Treacle down. Oh, okay. So, apparently, you're wanting to need this for about 8 to 10 minutes by hand, is what they suggest. Or what most of these articles suggest. I'm just trying to get more... Whoops. Knocked you out of alignment there. 1 second. There we go. Oh, hey! What an interesting camera! If I just do this... Hey, everybody! And then there we go. I'll have to fix that when my hands are cleaner, too. So we're going to take this to 5:30 by my clock. Let's see if we can get it by hand. There. Oh. Goodbye. Ooh, goodbye. There's a reason that this... Oh, whew, this recipe is made the way I think it is. Whew, it's a good thing I also cleaned my floors before the show today. Everything's fully clean. Oh. Murphy P, the whole process is going to take us close to the 3-hour mark. And if you do the thing where you let the dough rest the way you should, it could take even longer. Up to an overnight process. Or such. Whew. Okay. But that's okay. Because while the dough is resting, we've got other work to do. Okay. You know, I think this has actually gotten to the point where I am now done hand kneading this. And we move on to stage 2. Let me fix that camera here before we do. Oh, okay. Wow. Hands feel relatively dry and not sticky at all. That's surprising. Okay, iOS camera, let's rotate-o. Transform. Like a Gundam. Inside of me there are 2 robots. One is a Gundam unicorn and one is a transformer. They're both looking at the men's finals for climbing. All right. Step the next is... Whew. Let's take you to the booth. Ziploc bagging. We're going to Ziploc this friend up in this heavy bag. And that way, we can then use the power of, well, peta power, foot power, the foot power to knead this up. So let's get that on the ground. And let's get to stepping on this for a while. You want to try to remove as much air as possible out of the bag before stepping on it, for obvious reasons. And I'm going to probably suck some out. Nope. Close enough. On the ground. Get some action going there. Yes, here we go. And nice steppy. Oh, yes, here we go. Mush the bag, says Maestrith. Incredibly correct. So, also, don't let it ever be said that I didn't show feet for free on stream. This is a fan service or foot service? Nope, that's another thing.
Oh yeah, work it!
Guess who's home? It's Corey. Corey's home.
And I can see your feet.
Yep. How is that different from normal life? Okay. Now we have to fold it. Again, that's the purpose of the kneading. Okay. Should I fold it in bag or fold it out of... Oh, can we fold it in bag? Let's find out together. You know, it's probably easier just to take it out. I don't think I even need to seal this bag at this point. Oh no, a great sadness has occurred. There is currently no longer any more... You know what? I can do better than this. Let's go to this one, except now let's turn off this one. Hey, there we go. Now I can talk to you, and you can watch me step on a bag full of dough, which is...
You said the keg was almost empty, not...
Well, the keg was almost empty, and now the keg is empty. My apologies. Unfortunately, only one keg in the house. Step, 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 stepping on things. Grabbing a paper towel to wipe my brow, because it's that kind of a day. Although, I mean, we could add extra salt to the udon. That wouldn't be a bad thing, would it? Flip it over and get more step. So I guess this is the part of the program where you either Amy A, or I could give you some facts about udon. Right, let's do that. All right. So, for those unaware, this whole foot method of kneading the dough comes from, well, I mean, it comes from the Kanagawa Prefecture, which was formerly known as Sankyu. Or, sorry, Sanuki. Sankyu is a different thing. Sankyu is 3-9. But the idea being that the area was traditionally a low rainfall, high drought area. And so damage to crops and rice production was frequent, which meant that as soon as wheat was made available, it became more of a staple item. And what can you make with wheat? Well, noodles, but you do have to knead them quite a bit. And, well, how do you knead them? Well, you can knead them the way I did earlier with my hands, which sucked. Or you could do it this way with your feet, which is pretty good so far. Anyway, noodles became a staple food in the Sanuki area, or later, as it's known, Kanagawa, and all sorts of toppings are allowed. You can go with, you know, raw egg, green onions if you want that. You can throw in, I mean, it's literally anything. Do whatever you want. Nothing is wrong. There are things that are more traditional than others, but they're good noodles. Bront. What we're going to do today, though, is Kitsune Udon, which is one of my favorite variations on the dish. And it's a simple dish of udon noodles, green onions, a bonito broth. Sorry, why did I get lost in that? A bonito-based dashi broth. You can use kombu broth if you prefer and want to keep things vegan. And the important thing that makes it the kitsune is, oh god, what's the word for it? It's the full thing. Inariage. Why did I couldn't remember that? Which is just a sort of a sweet stewed version of aburage, sheets of puff fried tofu. You may have had inariage if you've ever had inari sushi. It's those wrinkly brown logs that are super sweet with the rice inside. One of my favorites. Okay. Here we go. There are some things that are more traditional than others, but everything's okay. That's how you end up with a popcorn and a Bon Appetit recipe. I mean, it's all okay, but it's not okay, as it were. I'm not gonna be the guy who decides to tell you what to put in a Japanese dish. That's for someone who is a member of the culture to decide. But okay, how much more do you need to put in there in terms of Stompy? Whee! It's actually easier to lose your balance in this than one might think it is. Is kansui used to make the noodles, or is it that piece for making ramen? Cornflakes, it is just for making ramen. The kansui is the alkali flour, I believe, or alkali powder that gets used in ramen noodles, which is partially what gives them their chew, but also gives its distinctive yellow texture and slight alkali bite. And while I like ramen noodles, I'm making udon today. We can make udon or ramen another time. Yellow texture, yes, yellow color and chewy texture. The chewy texture of an udon noodle is all natural. Woo. Okay, this is really starting to firm up in a nice way that I'm not sure is going to come across just there on the ground, but look at that dough. Look at that squish'em. Have I ever read Midnight Diner or seen Midnight Diner? No, Gamer Cow, yeah, I watched a bit of this first season and then kind of fell off after a bit. Mainly because I think I didn't really like the filming style, but that's mainly a problem I have with most Netflix programs, or specifically Japanese Netflix originals. I guess there's something that about the style of filming at the NHK and tokusatsu programs that looks completely different from a Netflix production. I don't know if it's lenses or cameras or what, but something looked really weird there. Anyway, I do need to get back into it. But even the Naked Director, which I just finished watching and is a spectacular series that not everyone at all should watch. If you're interested in the Japanese pornography industry, it's definitely worth a watch, but not if you are not interested in watching anything remotely sexual. I broke out of this bag. This is a bad bag. Fresh bag time. Whew. There's this great place in Montreal here that makes amazing yaki udon. I don't doubt it. Do you know if they do their own noodles, or if it's everything made in house sort of thing? Oh. Okay, these are really impressively, I want to say, firm and stretchy. I kind of have to give myself balance here. You can see me holding myself up by the two sides as I jam my heels down into this delicious, delicious stuff. Okay, let's see here. We're at 10 past the bottom of the hour. Shall we... You know what? I'm going to continue on with this for the full half hour, like I intended to, so... Whew. This might be one of the harder working TTSFs I've ever had. You go to the effort to serve it to you sizzling right out of the kitchen in a stone bowl. I mean, that's always cool. Rabbit GTA! Today's beer is Stone Fruit Saison from Category 12 in town. And it is, it's dry like a Saison, but wet like a stone fruit. I want to keep it away from the open hole, but I also want to get it down there. Hooray! I love seeing food connections getting made in the chat like that. Thank you, Rabbit. Unfortunately, the keg just blew earlier in the stream, so we are currently... What we've got is what we've got. That's right, I'm going to take a second sip while I stomp. Okay. I'm also discovering that I may put a moratorium on cooking TTSFs during the summer. This is getting a bit whoa. Ooh, check that. Liking that. Yeah, the beer glass is a glass from Theoretically Brewing out of Lethbridge, Alberta. I don't know if they've survived the COVID, but they were here last year, I think, 2 years ago. They existed. Oh. I think the key takeaway is that if you want to make udon noodles, the best thing to do is employ the free labor of children, should you have access to them. Unfortunately, I do not, but we'll make do. Bon Bo Kue, Vietnamese rice noodles make an acceptable substitute for udon. Glad to have that knowledge here. Thank you, Melody Dark. Also, I think that, given that was public on Twitter, congratulations once again on fixing your TV. That's a hell of a achievement. To keep things in the pool. Oof, 260 Celsius for Syrian bread does not sound good on a 30-degree day. Should I do it this way? Yeah, you get to see my face, but then you don't have quite the good view of the stompage. All right. I think we might be getting to dough rest stage, but no, things are still tearing, so we're going to continue to knead while stomping. Fold it over. Won't the gluten development be now all over the place instead of straight strands where you use a pasta machine? Girl painting, I'm unsure about that. We still have to roll it out, so... And it still has to rest. Owl, which the amount of stomping required is variable, I think. For my notes, I've said need forever. 8 to 10 minutes on the counter, feet for 10 to 15 minutes. So actually, we're coming up to that 15-minute mark now. And then I think, see, I'm going to say one more foldage. And then we're good. Then we're good to let it rest for a bit. Whew. And then we get to make things more hot in here because we'll be turning on stoves and stoves and stoves. Okay. One final Stampy. For old time's sake. One of the articles I was reading about this was mentioning that they were taught to knead their udon with their feet to the tune of a popular marching song from the 1957 era. Having something to lead you is probably a good idea. Though I don't think rhythm is necessary for the making of the udon. Probably doesn't hurt. Okay. I'm going to call that stomped. Please don't sue me, whomever on Broadway is responsible for said stomp. Okay. Whew. Yeah, it is tearing, but hopefully we'll get that, we'll be able to fix that up once it gets... once we let it rest for a bit. Now, as I said, the longer you let this rest, the better, because that's going to let the gluten develop. It's going to get a bit chewier. It's going to get a little bit more pleasant, but we're going to have to make do with half an hour of resting because that's sort of the schedule that we're under here. So let's clear some space off the stove because we're going to need this in a second. Just put these over here. Perfect. Okay, next up, while we're waiting for that to rest, let's work on dashi. Girl Painting asks, if I were a noodle, what kind would I be? Spaghetti, macaroni, udon, or something else? I'm going to be my favorite noodle, which is bucatini, which is like spaghetti, only it has a small hole in it, which means that when you cook it, the hole gets slightly bigger, but it still works out like spaghetti. But it can get full of either salted water or sauce or whatever. It's really good stuff. Yeah, the straw noodle, as Shastra says, which you should absolutely not use as a straw because of the possibility of E. coli in pasta. It is an uncooked wheat dish and therefore not suitable to be used as a straw or to be eaten raw if you want to be safe. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm telling you what to do in this case. And the reason for that is because people were using it that way. There was a shortage of bucatini earlier in 2020 in combination with the issues behind... There's a whole article. It wasn't just COVID, but there were problems with bucatini getting into the country, and I'm so happy it's back because I'm so happy I discovered it. Where were we? Right. It's not soup if we don't have liquid, and it's not Japanese soup if it doesn't have dashi. I'm only partially kidding there. They use dashi in almost everything. So we're going to make dashi from scratch because I've never done that before. Most of the time, I make my dashi using these packets. They're pretty simple to use. You just add the packet and then boom, you have bonito stock, you have dashi. But the usual way to make dashi is by boiling, well, not really boiling, but steeping flakes of bonito, katsuoboshi. I mean, there are other methods too. In fact, we're going to be using some kombu in there as well to make things a little bit more more flavorful. You could make it with just kombu if you wanted to, and that would keep the whole dish as it stands right now completely vegetarian. So there is that. Partially, I'm also doing this because this is a very old bag of katsuobushi that I bought for topping okonomiyaki, and we don't eat that much okonomiyaki, so still smells good though. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's start off with the aspect of. I forgot that we need to soak the kombu for 30 minutes. Well, that's my fault. Should have done that before. What we're going to need is 4 cups of water. Easy on that front. Bing. Let's fill that with 4 cups of water. And then, on top of that, we shall need a piece of kombu. Corflex says, dried shiitake mushrooms also work for making a vegetarian dashi when compared with kombu. Yes, they do. Very great, delicious flavor. There's a number of methods of making dashi, and most of them are delicious. So for this one, we're going to need about 10 grams or 2 inches by 8 inches. So that's looking pretty close. Let's see what it says on the scale. A lot of people will tell you that you need to wash or wipe your kombu. Really, you just need to keep an eye on it to make sure that there's no, big hunks of unpleasantness, dirtiness on it. So let's go about that. That seems about. We're gonna go with 5. 5 seems like enough kombu for this. No, you know what? We'll do it. We'll do what the recipe says. 10 grams. We should make some more things out of mushrooms, really. We really should. Square dot. In fact, I would like to make more leather things out of mushrooms. Well, Machoe says, what is kombu? Kombu is a type of seaweed. I can't remember if it's... This package says kelp. And the ingredient is kelp on the back. But yeah, different seaweeds, different uses. For example, laver seaweed is what gets used in nori. So yeah, we're just going to check it out here, see if there's anything on there that's unpleasant. I can't see anything, but what you are going to notice, and I'm going to swap us over here for a second so you can get a good look, is all that what you think is salt, and it's not. This is, God, wish I'd remembered, but this is part of the chemical that ends up being the delicious stuff, the flavor. So you want as much of that as you can. I'm going to cut mine in half and then add some ridges. And this is to aid in getting more surface area. It's not entirely necessary, but I've seen it done before, and I think it's worthwhile. Okay, in they go, and we'll wait for those to hydrate. In the meantime, let's measure out our katsuobushi. So they want 2 cups of those packed. Well, we should probably dry out our secondary measuring cup here, because these are going to be some wet friends, and then maybe we'll wipe off that countertop there. Okay. Hope I got my amounts right. Yeah, okay, good. Pour in some. There we go. That's going to use up a good portion of these, which is fine because it is expensive, but it's not, or it's costly, but it's not expensive, I'd say. you are you are getting what you pay for. Let's add a bit more there. Sure, why not? And then back they go. Yep, good. Katsuobushi. Oh, okay. And this, by the way, katsuobushi, if in case you're wondering why you emit this, is that these are shavings of dried skipjack tuna, or bonito. They're literally, the fish are literally dried into blocks and then are shaved using a razor on top of this wooden box. And then you get the fresh ones out there. Those are extremely expensive. Okay, let's make some space. And then let's just wipe down our work area here. Yeah, it's definitely a unique ingredient, Oma Choi, but it's, you get used to it because of how good it is, and then it suddenly becomes like, why is this not in everything I'm making? And then you start making more Japanese dishes and you realize that actually it is in everything I'm making. I make this joke, but bonito, or not bonito, but specifically dashi, which is the stock, be it kombu, be it bonito based, be it shiitake mushroom based, almost all of it contains some form of a dashi for getting that good monosodium glutamate or other forms of, not monosodium, other glutamates into the food. Right. Broken Gum's right. When you put it on hot food, it actually dances waves because it is so thin. What else do we want to do here? Well, that's soaking. Dough is resting. The next thing that we need to do is make the broth. And what we can do, actually, is... Oh, actually, we can get ready and... No, we can't make the inari yet. Well, we can start making the inari. Because to make the inari, we're going to need to boil it a bit. And that's the easy part. So let's just move these to the side. That's my coffee bowl, so we won't use that until tomorrow morning. Let's get a pot out. Let's use you, because this method asks for a drop lid, which is something to keep things down. We'll just use this as the lid. But, for that, we need our fried bean curds. So let's get some water going and boil it up. Are my clocks off? No, my clocks are on. Good. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to boil these friends for 3 minutes in order to get rid of some of the oil and get rid of some of the smell, the oily smell as well. We don't want either of those things in our... There we go. Hey, perfect. All right, is there anything I need from the fridge right now? Yes, I do. I'm going to need to get my mirin and my soy sauce because I don't have enough out right now. Let's see here. Where's my mirin? Mirin. Rice vinegar. Mirin! Hontari mirin. The real deal. Fermented, delicious, sweet cooking wine. And where is my big... Ah, there you are. Hello, Monsieur Kikoman. Yep, there we go. Okay. The pot outgrowth litter. spillage drink in the dryer. Oof. Minimac Guru asks, what brand of mirin do I use? I use, yeah, that's not the camera. I use, this brand. Miscan. Really, I just use what's available, what's cheapest in the local areas, but the important thing is you're looking for the word hon in there, or hon, which means real, which indicates that this has been made using the using a fermentation system rather than just mixed chemicals. Means things taste a little bit more correct. Whew, okay. And where am I going here? We're on the other side. Right. My soy sauce is whatever Costco Kikkoman is. Kikkoman does good work. I've tried a different brand recently. Didn't notice too much of a difference, so I'm going back to the Kikkoman. Because why not? Save money where you can. That said, if you can find an Utsukushi or lighter, light Japanese soy sauce, that is apparently the one to be using specifically for this application. Okay. I might as well just let y'all in on the rest of the secrets of what's going on today. So we've got the aburage, or the inariage, which we are currently in the process of. All this dashi is going to be used in not just the broth, we're also going to use it in the inariage. We're also going to use it partially to use up the last of these bonito flakes, because we're going once we've finished steeping them to make the dashi stock, we're going to turn them into furikake, because why waste anything, right? I love how many things can be made with just a few Japanese ingredients. So where are we at here? Well, where we're at is we have come to the top of the hour, which is generally a good time for us to take a short break. So we're going to do that. Go ahead, stretch your legs, grab yourselves a beverage, swap your fluids if you need to, and we'll be back with more Tinker Tailor Solder Fry and the making of the aburage into inariage in just a few minutes. Don't go away. Welcome back to Tinker Tailor Solder Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network, the only place for Ian's nudes. We are currently in the process of putting together a few of those nudes in the form of udon noodles today, and we are in the thick of it. We got water boiling. We got water starting to get hot over here. We've got to boil some aburage, which is what's going on here. So let's take our aburage. Let's take it out of these wonderfully cheap plastic, and just wait till it gets rolling, and then we'll dump them in. Where is my colander? Ow. Let's see here. Which one do we want to use? Let's use the noodle one. Yeah, because we'll be using this later today. Noodles! I do love these things, although it's a bit of a incorrectly sized, but we don't need to worry about that right now. Okay, boiling seems to be boiled up, so let's drop some aburage in. And you can see why the drop lid is an important feature, because it keeps things under the surface. Oh god. It's not keeping it enough under the surface, though. Well, I guess close enough. So we should wait for it to get back up to a boil before we start timing it. You can do better than that. Boop. I win. All right, so we'll just let those go. Let's turn it down a bit so it doesn't boil over immediately. And dispose of unnecessary plastics. Right. Just weigh it down with some magnets. That would be great. Oh, there's water in the bowl? Well, we'll get a fresh bowl. Now they're getting out. Don't trust them. And our dough is resting nicely, so that's safe. The fork is putting in some work. Yeah, one did escape, it looks like. We'll have to just kind of jam it in there and hope for the best. This is not the cooking portion so much, so we don't need to worry about too much. What we're doing here, in case I wasn't clear. Am I going? Yeah, in case I wasn't clear. This is just to remove some of the oil and some of the oily flavor from these tofu puff skins. So we're not too worried about anything's other about it being down there. But I'm gonna have to think about something else for that drop weight. And I think I have an idea. In fact, we're gonna grab it just in case. This should suffice in terms of keeping things underneath. It's been a while since I've used this this friend, but useful to have around. Okay, where are we going here? We're just now waiting. We're done waiting. 3 minutes is up. Let's take it on over to the sink. And I'm going to need a clampy to get the lid out of there, because it's probably hot AF right now. Right, and you know what? Let's just pull them out. And then let those cool for a bit. Drain the pot. Do I need to, is a good question. Do I need to... drain under cold water. Perfect. Get fucked, heat. And then we'll have to give that pot a quick wash, but... Ooh, hot. Those are still hot. Too hot to handle. Okay, they're now no longer too hot to handle. Ooh, no, they are still very hot. Okay. I mean, might as well bring those over for you to see while I work on them, because we got to wash everything out there. Okay. Oh, there we go. So, give them a squeeze. Oh god, they're like udders spraying everywhere. I should probably have a separate thing to put these in. Probably a plate will do. There we go, there's one. This is my first time making these as well, and I'm actually very excited about this because working on these is the first step to making one of my favorite Japanese dishes, which is I love oden, but what my favorite piece of oden are these very bags of tofu, except with a piece of mochi put inside and then tied off with a string of kombu. I don't know if those little streams are coming through due to the Twitch compression, but this is There's a lot of moisture in these little guys. These tofu friends. All right, doesn't that look completely different from what we popped in there? I don't like the tiny streams of water they send out. Okay, well, that's okay. We're gonna be filling these back up with fluid again anyway, so don't be too worried about these the state of dryness of these. All right, that feels pretty squeezed out. Looks good. Let's take this back over to the sink and let's begin washing this off because we're gonna need it. In fact, we're gonna need it almost immediately in order to produce our dashi. Things are going to be moving pretty quickly from this point because I think all the waiting's done in terms of actual waiting, because we are now, thankfully, if I look at my time, exactly half an hour from when we dumped that kombu into that water. So let's get that back on the stove. This terrible, terrible stove. And let's get all that kombu and water into the pot. Blorp. And, oh, come on, just blorp out of there. Thank you. And we're going to turn that on to high heat, and we're going to watch this for a bit, because what we want to do is get it off the heat before it boils, and this is vital when making kombu-based dashi, because if you let it boil, that's going to cause a chemical change in the seaweed, and the whole thing is just going to get super slimy and super bitter, and that is not what you want. You're kind of thinking this like tea. You're steeping it, not boiling it. So that's that. Girl Painting says, have you ever used dashi and broth pre-made versions? You bet I have. That's exactly what this is for, and that's exactly what this held. You can see some of the crystals still on the bottom of this was, I think, a different brand. This is Shimaya. I prefer, honestly, the Ajinomoto, but other brands are available. You can even see in here the I managed to. I bought a bulk pack, and then just wrote the amounts here. So for miso, you're looking at 1 teaspoon for every 3 cups. For pot dishes, you get 1 teaspoon per 5 or 6 cups, and for hot noodles, which is what we're doing right now, you're looking at 2 teaspoons per 5 cups. That's for, of course, Ajinomoto. So you can concentrate more on the toppings and noodles and half the workload. I mean, so the thing is, you could half the workload, but we're not... I don't feel like I'm being overworked here. If I had done things properly, the way I was thinking about it, I would have started with the dashi, and we would have had that ready to go, and there would have been no waiting, because it would have been, get the dashi going, stomp on your noodles, or stomp on them in the morning and let them rest for 3 hours. But we're now on a critical path here. Work time. Okay, yes. Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the pre-packaged broths and dashi. And in fact, most Japanese households do that because it's easy. It's the same reason we've got, it's the same reason that this exists, and we don't always reach for something like this, right? By the way, I just did my first experimentation with chicken stocks. And magnifique, let me tell you. Using a pressure cooker, a onion, a carrot, and a stalk of celery. Just crack carrot and celery, throw it in the Instant Pot / pressure cooker. Chop your onion in half, throw it in there, and then throw in the remaining bones from a feed of Costco wings. And it's made an amazingly delicious, just slightly spiced stock that is super easy in 30 minutes. Just 30 minutes. Super pleased with that. Yeah, Manai, that's the thing. Like, you're mentioning simmering the pot all weekend, yeah? Or pressure cook it. I'm a big pressure cooking booster, in case you couldn't tell. All right, pork stock via sous vide. It worked a bit odd. Okay, that's interesting, Kane. Norable. Lady Aliros uses whole chickens, cut them up, and put the carcass to make the stock that is frozen in a slow cooker. Good. Cost of a pressure cooker for a full turkey carcass. Good point, Manai. Yeah, do be aware of the cost if you don't already have a pressure cooker. Oh, man of Catherby. I mean, that's the thing. We've had pressure cookers for, God, it's got to be over a century now. And they're really good. They're really there's still a article that I will constantly cite on Serious Eats that's something along the lines of everything your slow cooker can do, your pressure cooker can do better. And that's one of the few places where I will talk about time versus energy. The pressure cooker is going to give you such good results in so little time that it's the slow cooker's all day cook approach just doesn't add up. There's still good things that a slow cooker will do better, but they are few. And to be honest, if you really want to go the real hardcore route, Dutch ovening is the way to go for things like stews and long soups, especially things that should be cooked in an oven. Ian's full of opinions today. Let's get that off. We are at a simmer here. Let's check that kombu. Okay. So, what did I want to do with this? Broth. No, that's... Okay, good. So now we're going to remove the kombu to its own little plate, because we're going to use this later. But yeah, as long as you don't molest your pressure cooker in any way to modify it, you're probably going to be safe with it. Like, they're designed in such a way to fail safely. There's a little piece there. Good. We'll be coming back for that goodness later. Meanwhile, let's get the this back on the hob. Oh, you can't smell this, but this smells like the ocean, and that's kind of amazing. Good. So we got that. So we're going to take the katsuobushi, and we're going to add it in. And we're going to let this come up to just about a boil again. And then we're going to steep it for 30 seconds to a minute. One of my drawers doesn't close unless I kick it from one angle, and that's kind of weird. Oh, Jesus, random trivia. Fresh water doesn't smell like the ocean by itself. It needs a little kelp. That is a good one there. Okay. Oh, I think we're just about... Yep. Boil has occurred, turning off the heat. And 60-second timer. So we've got my fine mesh strainer. We're going to use that to strain this out. We need a vessel into which to put this. Let's just take that right off the heat so it stops boiling entirely. Oh! Aha! Small bowl. Perfect for this. And we shouldn't put the plastic bowl on the hot stove thing. Okay. Do I need both hands for this? Probably. We're probably going to want to have a good control over this. Okay. I'm excited. This is my first time making dashi from ingredients. I'm excited. Turn off manual. Oh, timer's done. Okay. Wah! Do not spin it. Now everything smells like dashi. Ready, 3, 2, 1, up. We go. Steamy. Could use a third hand here, but squeeze that dashi out a bit. Okay, so good. I'm going to throw that into its own little bowl. But oh my goodness gracious. Would you look at the color on that? I'll give this a sniff here. Oh, rich. I'm excited. Okay, let's wipe up that. Let's wipe up some of this here. This is the glass top electric element stove. It's literally the worst kind of stove that can be had, but it works. I want to get those into their own plate, though, because we are going to be using those, I've decided, to make furikake as well. What's furikake, you say? Well, it's stuff that you put on top of rice, or on top of popcorn, or whatever you want. It's flavor shake, basically, is what it is. But it's flavor shake made with the leftovers of your soup making, of your universal broth recipe. Hold on. Get that there. Scrape that out there. And then we'll just grab those. And we'll come back for that later. Put that with the kombu. Where did I put the kombu? Kombu is, you know what, it's all going over here now. Whoop-de-boo. Small kitchen problems. Okay, gonna wash these out because I want to use this pot again because it's the right size. Damn all these pots for having the for being correctly sized. Let's if anything else, I think I'm gonna have to buy myself a second fine mesh strainer. It's because I find it incredibly useful. And anytime I'm doing basically anything. Okay. Just gotta rinse this pot, and then we're good. Alright, get that back on there. And now we're going to work on the inariage. So we've got our 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute. Yep, all 6 of them. 6 of those. We're going to need 1 cup of dashi, 5 tablespoons of sugar, and 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. We're just going to put it all together and then boil and cook for 50 minutes or until most of the liquid is either absorbed or boiled off. So let's get this started. Start with a cup of dashi. Let's rinse the last few flakes over there. And then let's get a cup of dashi. Measure from the top of the meniscus, which I take to mean measure from above the meniscus. 1 cup dashi. Oh my god. Sorry, the reason I keep saying oh my god is because when you make it via the packets, it doesn't look as rich as this does. It's kind of amazing. 5 tablespoons sugar, 5 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons soy sauce. Okay. My sugar. I have enough here. Let's move this back over here. 5 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do 3 and a half because I find that a lot of the time there's just way too much sugar in these, and I think that's mainly to cater to Kansai palates. I did find a couple of recipe spots stating that if you prefer a Kondo palate, cut back your sugar by not quite half, but a bit. And then soy sauce wise, we need 3. Can we get them out of here? 1, 2, 3. Okay. I should also wash that pot lid so that when we weigh things down, it's not covered in oil again. How long until he gets his own katsuobushi log? Nikus, it's probably not going to be until I'm actually in Japan. Just because I'm sure that the price of importing it, and moreover the hassle of importing it, would be more work than it's worth. Plus I can probably find a bargain at some point there. Or as close to a bargain as one can get when dealing with katsuobushi. Trouble is, you also need the cutter for it, but that's probably fine. You know what? I'll just use the this to stir. I also need the shaving box, but honestly, it'll probably pay for itself pretty quickly. All right. Trying to dissolve that sugar. There we go. Lots of noise. And let's get our tofu skins in there. See if I can provide any sort of method of holding. I don't think we're going to use this. I think we're just going to use the pot lid. TBH. Yeah, that seems much more useful now. Usable now. Okay, and these are going to get boiled for 15 minutes roughly. Meanwhile, Our good friends, the noodles, are still resting. So that's good. I use this time to put away a few things, like my flour, which goes on top. And my salt, which I realized I didn't need to buy until just recently. Ooh, here we go. Boiling is occurring. Good. Good. 15-minute timer. Hopefully this won't be too much longer than 15 minutes. The last time I tried making something that involved sugar, soy sauce, mirin, sugar, soy sauce, and dashi was menma, which are the bamboo shoots you get in ramen. And that also requires a process of boiling until almost all the liquid is gone. They're a little bit more oily due to their construction, but similar method and similar deliciousness. Just move them around a bit to make sure that nothing's getting stuck too. Okay, and I'm going to turn down that heat just a bit. Making katsuobushi is actually quite doable, except you do need to coat it with a mold at some point, and that's going to be hard. Oh. Griffin, yeah, no, that's the reason why you think it looks like a wood is that's how you get the nice thin shavings out. So this is interesting for me because I really do enjoy inari sushi as well. And so if I can make my own inari rolls, or inari bags as I like to call them, even though they have a name and it is inariage, means I don't have to buy the canned stuff. Which is great because I don't like things in cans. He says, realizing that when this beer is done, he's going to have to reach into the fridge and get a can of it. I think I can probably turn off that kettle because I don't need that right now. Oh, but what we can do is start working on the, not the katsuobushi. Give me strength. The furikake. Let's get ourselves out a vessel for that. Let's take these away. Furikake is made out of the reserved kombu and the reserved katsuobushi. We're only going to use about half the kombu this time, though. So we're going to cut the kombu into small pieces, put it all in a saucepan, and then cook until on medium low until it is dry. And then we add sugar, soy sauce, and kosher salt. That's right. Okay, so let's get out a cutting board for our stuff there. Have a look here, make sure this is still working as intended. Yep. Looking good. Still lots of liquid though, so we got some time. I think 15 minutes is going to be right on the money there. Let's use this piece. This piece seems like it's got some good thickness. You know what? Let's use a couple. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to cut this up into some strips. Oh, good. You can't see my terrible knife technique. Yeah. just strips of kombu, and then we're going to turn those into tiny squares in a second here. TTSF always gets me self-conscious about my knife technique, and to be honest, I really should practice some better cutting techniques, or just practice the art of cutting a bit better. Yeah, that seems like that's gonna be just about enough. Let's use one more, just because. It's because we're fancy. Let's try not rolling that one, see how that goes. See if it's any easier. Oop, 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 oop. Let me tell you, it's also very odd to cook and stream at the same time. You definitely do not want to be watching the chat while you're working a knife. Okay. This does not cook very well either, this kombu. These might be way too big, but it's my first try, and as much as I like furikake, I don't end up generally buying it because it never gets fully used up in this house before it ends up going completely stale. So I think 15 minutes might actually be too long on this. I'm going to keep that about there. All right, and let's add get that down to medium low. It's going to be about a 2.5 on my stove. And don't forget our furikake log. Yep. Okay, there we go. And can I do that? I bet I can. Hold on. Yes! Yes! Ha-ha! I'm not sure whether this looks wretched or great. Not that that affects the taste, says Twilight Spark. I mean, cooking-wise, it's very brown. Sure is hella brown, isn't it? But, taste-wise, this is going to be sweet and delicious. What is in the pot? Is it meat or beef pants? No, that is, those are fried aburaage, which I guess is a redundancy because age means fried. But they're fried tofu skins that we have squeezed water out of and replaced with a mixture of sugar, soy sauce, and katsuobushi-based dashi. Turn that back down a bit even more. We're just trying to currently boil off the remaining... Actually, no, we keep that back up at 5. Boil off the remaining water. Let's add the furikake to the pan, the pot. Let's try to spread it around a bit. And do the same thing with the kombu bits. Nice knife, just a bit of a wash there. Ooh, boy, that's a slimy knife after that. Not surprising, given what's in it, but what it's been through, rather. Quite literally what it's been through, you know, being a knife. Okay. So the cooking spatula, good sir? Oh, fine. Fine! Get out the bamboo. Move things around a bit until it decides to warm up. Woo-wee! It's starting to smell fishy in here. How we doing, friends? Is that 90% of the liquid yet? I don't know. We're going to keep going to the 15-minute mark. 5 minutes left in the 15-minute mark. Right. What more do we need to do here? Need to take that away. Clean up the area and get ready for kneading, I think is what we need to do. Well, not kneading, rolling, which is a different art. Things Ian needs to remind himself to do before TTSF in the future. Empty the dishwasher so you can put dirty dishes into it immediately. No, don't touch. Move this around a bit again. And let's get our seasonings ready for when we have to dump them in here. Small prep bowl. Silicone. Teaspoons. And tablespoons as well. Let's rinse out that. This is starting to smell like it's getting done. This is starting to... It's not dry yet, but it's starting to dry out. Okay, so we are going to need 1 teaspoon sugar, 2 teaspoons soy sauce, and ½ teaspoon quarter kosher salt. So let's get the sugar first. 1 teaspoon sugar. This is starting to get a rich taste to smell to it. This is starting to... Okay, that's... Something's burning, so we're going to take that off the... Actually, no, we'll just leave it on for a small amount of time. We got 2 minutes left in there. Let's have a look. Yeah, these are still good. Liquid is still occurring. I think it's probably something we had underneath a... underneath a pan. Okay, we've got the sugar, 2 teaspoons soy sauce. Let's hold on to those here. A quarter teaspoon of kosher salt. We'll just pinch that. That's pinched. And, 3 tablespoons sesame seeds. The recipe suggests a mixture of black and white. I have white, so that's what we're going to be using. And, of course, nori, 3 sheets of it for us to cut in a second. Start breaking this apart. Okay. Let's pour out 3 tablespoons. Whoop, 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of sesame. Okay, and we'll need 2 of those. Right, and the nori sheets, which normally only get used for onigiri around here. A couple of those sheets out. use a double bagging system for my nori to keep it fresh. 2 Ziploc. The Ziploc it comes in, a bigger Ziploc, and then as many of those silica gel packages as I can find. Okay, let's take that down to 2. And our abrage is done. So let's cool that down. Let's look inside. Oh my goodness. That is some tofu skin. We got a little bit of sizzle in the bottom there. But these are going to be some very flavorful lumps. Hopefully not too flavorful, is my worry. All right. I still see that over there? Great. Okay, so it says to cook this until it's dry. So I think it's starting to get dry. Like there's fewer and fewer clumps occurring. I almost feel like I want to get a fork out to fluff it. Cute. Okay, let's just leave that for a second. Where are we at here? We are almost at the top of the hour, so let's hold on to things here. I think we can finish that up. I want to check on the cool and squeeze out. Okay. So I just need to squeeze these out once they've cooled down a bit. That's going to be fun. I honestly don't even know if there's any point in squeezing them out because they appear to be almost entirely dried out already. I think I can barely get a... Oh no, there's some in there. There's some stuff. Yep, let's get it out of that pot. This is not doing anyone any favors warm like that. Whew. Look at that. That's almost perfect in terms of how much liquid you want left. Just a little bit of caramelization there of the soy sauce at the bottom. Mm. Oh, hey, would you also like to know how to make teriyaki? I'll tell you. Soy sauce, sugar, and dashi. Well, I think it's dashi? Anyway, yeah. Soy sauce, dashi, and sugar used extremely often. Why am I doing that off camera? Let's do that on camera. Okay, and then another one down here. And then probably one more, and then we can start cutting them into ribbons to go in here. Oh, here we go. I think we've just about found dry, friends, in which case, yeah, we're just about ready. So let's get a bowl to chop those. Ah! Hi. Don't worry, we're still here. Oh, no, we're too low now. There we go. All right, let's put that over here. See what we're doing. We're just making little tiny sticks of nori to put in. So I just I might actually just stop with the one stack, because this might be enough for the nori as is. And that's pretty... You know what? Let's do the whole thing. Why not? Cook the book. That's what they say, isn't it? Or at least that's an article series on one of the cooking sites. Oh. Just had a slight breeze come into the kitchen, and it was glorious. Okay. Now, we can add these to the thing, but not before we add 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. Shoyu. Kiko man. And now let's mix that all up. Add you friends as well to the mix. Oh boy. Oh, bother. Okay, and now we want to cook apparently until crispy. The air is heavy now with the smell of toasting nori. I found it interesting that there's no oil to this, but I guess there wouldn't be any oil, otherwise the whole thing would become an oily mess. Ah, get in there. Oh, fudge. Never do that again. Get back in there. Nobody saw anything. This one is my head rag. Oh. Woo. Have I just tried to make ramen with spaghetti or other Italian-style noodles instead? Girl painting, I have not. I've heard other people do it, but it's not something I'm particularly interested in, because if I want ramen, I want... If I want ramen, I want the ramen noodles. Now, I understand that if you cook your Italian-style noodles with a bit of, something alkaline, you can kind of replicate the flavor of the alkaline noodles, of the kansui, but it's not something I'm particularly... I'd much rather try to make regular noodles first. This, oh boy, this is probably the worst thing to do to this pot. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of replacement ingredients in general in recipes. I find that when you try to replace an ingredient, especially a key ingredient like ramen, like the noodles in ramen, you're making a different dish entirely, and trying to compare it to the original is doing a disservice to both the original and to what it is that you've made. Like, be proud of what you made, but don't pretend that it's something different. Hey, Serafina, thank you for bringing some friends around. Welcome to the show. Asking because we don't have an Asian store here in my town, and I'm not that fond of making noodles myself. Yeah, girl, that's like that is rough. But it's like I would try it, and if it works good, that's fantastic. But if I want ramen, I want the whole package. But it's, I guess it comes back to me to back in the early days of vegetarian cooking, when tofu was being used basically everywhere as a meat replacement and meat substitute, and you ended up getting a lot of dishes that just took meat and replaced meat with tofu, and now it doesn't taste like what the dish is, because tofu tastes nothing like meat unless it's prepared in very specific ways, in which case it kind of tastes something like meat but isn't the same. So yeah, I don't know. Making do with non-standard local ingredients is how cuisine is developed. That's where the banh mi comes from. Yes, Arclight Dynamo, that's I completely agree with that. But that's again that's how banh mi, a new thing, was created. It wasn't old thing and then and now old thing is now the new banh mi. I don't know. I'm having a hard time articulating my point here today, but. That's to this day why I have a hard time with tofu, because it was presented to me as a meat for so long. Yeah, Jesse. Whereas I, we call ourselves omnivores. I don't know what I call myself. But I love tofu, love it. But I've never had it used as a meat substitute. Yes, experiment with different ingredients, but don't call it something else. I'm trying to develop a German ramen with local ingredients and substitutes. Well, in that case, yeah, it might be a. See, this is a hard one too, because then we're starting to get into issues of cultural appropriation, and who owns the culture and who owns the recipe. Like, even sometimes I even question, am I doing the right thing by trying recipes on stream like this that I'm not a member of the culture of? And I definitely try not to present myself as an expert in any of these things, because I certainly am not. But I want people to be aware of it. I want people to know where they can find more if they want to have more information. I think this is done. Yep, we're going to call that done. That's crispy. Okay. I think I didn't get something right about this. Things are toasted and crisped up, but I think I might have burnt some of the sesame seeds a bit. No, they're toasty. I think I got to try this in a different method somehow, because mine seems like it might be a bit too wet and a bit too... It's not wet though at all. Oh no, it's still wet. Well, okay. Back on the hob you go. A bit more. I think what I needed to do was dry it out a bit more before I added things to it. But that's going to be a pot that's going to be hell to close. But that's the idea I've got as well. But I never want to be thought of as the expert of any sort of Japanese cuisine, because I'm not. I'm an outsider. I lived there for a while, but that doesn't give me any right to claim that I am part of it. But that said, yeah, experiment. Please do. You should definitely experiment with foods. Make things that you like. Just don't try to. I guess what I'm saying is, don't try to make ramen with spaghetti and serve it to a Japanese person and call it ramen. That's all. Okay, where were we going here? But again, absolutely do try making some ramen with Italian pasta and alkaline or baking soda to firm up those noodles and give them the proper taste. Yeah, there is absolutely nothing wrong with liking something and trying to recreate it. Glad we got there somehow. Okay, I'm gonna take this last second here while we're still online and we're waiting for things to dry out, crisp up. And try breaking up some of those larger clumps to see if that helps. But I think my first attempt at furikake might not be great. Also, you know what? Turns out doing things while you're streaming and trying to think as well is a difficult thing. Let's try squeezing some of these out and see what we get. Oh, God. Well, okay. Didn't necessarily think that we would need to squeeze things out, but turns out I was wrong. Oh no. These definitely feel like inari age though. Whoa. Probably put that down. And I turn over to see Seraphina referencing a little purple dragon, aka figment of your imagination. Foxmore, that's the point I'm trying to make here. I miss Figment too. That was my favorite part of Epcot. Imagination, imagination. It's been far too long since I heard the rest of that song, so I'll just sing imagination. All right. This is the most disgusting thing I have ever done. Alrighty. Oh, yep, that's the smell. That smells exactly how it is supposed to. Okay, let's get this off that countertop. Wash that hand off. And then, friends, I am going to stick you all in the commercial zone for a few more minutes here because it's time to take a quick break. Stretch your legs, swap your fluids. I'm going to clean up this area. When we come back, it's going to be time for some noodling around. We're going to cut up those nudes. Don't go away. More Tinker Tailor Soul to Fry after this. Folks, welcome back to Tinker Tailor Soldier Fry here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network, where today we are in the process of making udon from scratch, in addition to the udon broth made with dashi, some furikake, and also some inari age for the Kitsune Udon itself. Oh, right, there's one more ingredient I forgot. 12 years ago, nine-tailed fox appeared. Naruto! Naruto! Believe! Yes, here I am with my ninja clan. Ninja clan, here I stand. Naruto! Fish cake with the swirl. It goes in this. We'll keep it in the fridge until it's time to bring it out, but I'm not making fish cake from scratch. Sorry, folks. Not this week. I think we got enough out of what we've got. Time to get rolling. So, where's my rolling pin? I don't think we're gonna need to flour dust the surface too much because this is pretty unsticky dough ATM, but we'll see once we once we get everything fully set up here. Whoop, that goes there. There we go. Now you all have your view. Good beer. Let's just see how this does without any sort of molestation yet. Oh, not bad. Okay, let's try and get this into a square. So let's, do we even need to get into a square? I don't think we do. Let's try just pushing it out to start. Maybe we want to ball this up. I probably should have balled it up to begin with, actually. We're here now, and I think we can work with this. Okay. Whew. Back this direction. We'll have two little end pieces, but that's probably fine. Okay. Whew. This is not going to make it easy on me. Okay, and then I think what we do is roll it up this way. Oop. And try to even it out, stretching it out as you go along. That should help with the widening. Holy moly. This is tough stuff. Yeah. Found the edge of the work surface too. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm going to move the camera to a different, slightly different location so I can get my weight behind this. Whew. Oh. Yep. That's what we want. Okay. That's starting to come together. Oh, it's nice and smooth, though. Oh. Excuse me while I stretch a bit here. Oh, God. Guess who hasn't worked out his upper body in ever? Down here. Let's let gravity help out a bit. Okay. Woo-wee. So we're looking for something that's about 1/8 of an inch or 0.31 centimeters thick. Oh. We're starting to get there. I'm not willing to break out the calipers just yet, but my problem is clearly that I don't make noodles. Yep, that must be it. That clearly has to be it. Do you even nude? Whoa. Okay. Now let's try in the diagonal direction. Whoa. Oh, my core! Getting there. Oof. American, I would love to be a noodle vendor. But whew, this is a lot of work. I could see why they invented machines for this part. We're very close to the area where I'd consider we ourselves. Oh. Rolled out. I'm going to try and get these corners a bit more even. Definitely would have been better if I'd given a smooth ball shaping to the dough before letting it rise. But I think we're making some very important progress here. Oh. Oh. I think this might be it. Okay. One more quick run down with the pin. I think it might be time then to dust it and start cutting. Because we're starting to get a nice long boy. Oh, look at that. Ah. Boom. Am I doing long, man? I'm trying. I'm trying. That to me says that we're thin enough, I think. Let's get a cutting board out here. Okay, lay that down. One more, just a bit more. Okay, now we're gonna dust with damn it, potato starch. Spoon, starch, and with dust. This is a terrible dusting. You know what works better? A little rub. Get a bit more on there. Potato starch never hurt anyone. Okay. Now what we're going to do is flip it over to do the same thing on the other side. Potato starch. Oh, there we go. Just rub that all in. Let's coat the surface. Potato starch is a magical powder that makes. If you want to keep something from sticking to itself, like say dough, potato starch is kind of magical for that. Okay, so we're trying to get some folds here in the dough so that we can cut some straight noodles. I think we're ready. Get it a sharp knife. I've sharpened this earlier. And you want to cut them to be about, about the size of an udon noodle, which is about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. And I think that there's going to be some variation there. Well, that's the first edge. That's the edge cut. That doesn't count. Here's our first true nude. Oh boy. So I'm probably going to want to cut them a bit thinner, it looks like, but that's a good looking noodle, I gotta say. Let's cut this in half first of all so that we know which portion is which. And then let's just slice them out. These slice really cleanly. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the dough is as firm as it is. Folks, I'm excited for this. It feels like it's coming together in a really great way. So yeah, I think the key is to cut slightly thinner than you think you need to. And for me, at least, that's getting some very nice noodles. Yep. I want to get those edges. There we go. Look at that. Okay. Good. 2 more to this batch, I think. They're not going to be the best ones, but they'll do. Okay, and that is one batch of, or one serving, I think. That might even be 2 servings, TBH. That's a lot. Let's get some plates. In fact, I might just cut that up into 2. I mean, not cut, but divide into 2 servings right off the bat. Because nice thing about udon is that it freezes nicely because of the low moisture content. You can probably weigh these after the fact rather than trying to individually divvy it up by noodle. Especially seeing how long some of these suckers are. Like, you take one noodle from one side to the other and suddenly you've changed the amount each side gets. Okay. Oh, right, we got a couple more here. And then this one's gonna be, again, smaller than you think. Yeah, the hard work in terms of putting this meal together is definitely going to make this taste a lot better. I mean, not that it's going to need any flavor enhancement. Okay. Starting to pick up a rhythm too. Okay, these last ones are going to kind of suck, but that's fine. Short noodles are still noodles. That's 2 more heaping helpings of udon. Get this out of the way. All right, folks, gotta do one more thing. Gotta heat up something for the dashi, and then, oh, geez, Gotta be worried about getting potato starch on the scalp. Trying to avoid pouring the sediment into the pot here if I can. Good enough. Great. Let's put that on low so as to allow that to be hot for soup times. Where's my pot? This pot is the worst. We'll use hot water from the kettle to... Oh god, that's not going to speed things up enough. Oh well. We need way more water than that. Yep, that is hot. Hi. All this to say, by the way, that if you've enjoyed this program, you can make your own udon noodles at home. And if not, I mean, TBH, the packaged stuff is pretty good too. I'm not cooking one of these as a control group, though. Ooh, hey. Kettle. Oh, you're upset because there's no water in you, that's why. Why did you try to turn yourself on, Kettle? Why would you even do that? Well, Seraphina, I mean, if you don't have a rolling pin, improvise. Use a wine bottle. Actually, don't use a wine bottle. You might end up pushing too hard, and... I used glass bottles as replacement rolling pins for far too long and always worried about what I was possibly doing to myself. Okay, there's the Inari. Let's get ourselves a smooth drink from the refrigerator, and then let's cut ourselves some Naruto. I guess that makes me Sasuke. Ooh. Okay, how to open Naruto. Cut the end, I bet. And then just peel out a bit. And what do you say? On the bias? On the bias. Just slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again for 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's enough for 2 persons worth of udon. Ooh. Turn around and see. Oh, good God. Please, I'm begging you, people, do not use glass as a rolling pin. Absolutely, yes. I completely agree. Do not use glass as a rolling pin. There we go. And put that back in the fridge, I guess. When we need more Naruto. And best before, this is, I assume, not something you're going to want to, the best before is while frozen. Normally these are frozen. The best before date is March 9th, 2022. Probably good in the fridge for about a week. Okay, still waiting on that boiling water. That said, we will probably want a spoon for dishing out broth. Should probably get myself a decent sized bowl here for eating out of. Some chopsticks and spoon. Why not? Alrighty. We are just about ready. Corey brought Hazy Point Ale, or Hazy Pale, Waypoint Hazy Pale from Stanley Park Brewing. Is it any good? Who knows? Other beers are available. Okay, we've got to get this boiled up. How long do we actually have to boil for? Question. Various ingredients in the past that I have read have told me that we will be boiling these for 12 to 13 minutes. That's interesting. Sorry, American, I just looked at your message saying that, of course, you look for alternatives for rolling pins. The first 3 articles say use a wine bottle, and then they say use a drinking glass? The drinking glass is even worse. Let's do a furikake post-mortem, and I'm afraid that I think we ended up charring the sesame seeds a bit. I'm just going to taste what we've got on top. So we got there in the end with regards to the fish bits. But definitely the sesames, I think, went to... Some of them are still okay, but they are a bit charred. I think cooking it a bit longer to really dry out the katsuobushi would make that whole thing come together properly. That said, I'm not too sad about ruining that particular batch. Wow, it's causing my mouth to continually water. Hum. Right. Next time, not too worried about losing this batch because essentially that was essentially just waste. I'm not going to say garbage, but waste. Oh, good God, there's a lot going on here with regards to rolling pins that I've not noticed. I do have to thank the Oven Bird, because I did notice right now for 10 gifts to the channel. Thank you so much, Oven Bird. We're not using the oven today, but I'll open the door in your honor. Here's to you. All right, water is beginning to come up to a boil, which is good. And you know what? I'm actually, no, I'm not going to add any more water to that. We have enough water in the pot already. I'm going to put away my hondashi, though. So that doesn't need to be out right now. Trying some different wiring this time, and while I can't open the fridge, it is difficult to not tangle up the cords. Yeah. Rolling pins are not that expensive. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. If you want a fancy one, get one that's made of marble. My mother had one that was made of marble. I don't. I don't need one. I like this one. It's flat, wood, it's light. Yeah, Dogma, a good alternative broom handle, sans broom. Just snap one of those off. What else is an acceptable rolling pin substitute? mean, if you have a billet of tungsten that is long enough, you could also use that. I would say you're probably okay using a propane tank if you absolutely have to. A twisted tea. Yeah, yep, unused or used. Unactivated nuclear fuel rods, I'd say, because you definitely don't want extra heat coming out of your rolling pin, so that's definitely not. Yep, definitely a CO2 tanks or scuba tanks, also appropriate. Acetylene tanks, probably also effective. What else? Do you know how heavy a scuba tank is? Yes, I do, Seraphina. I have done the scuba-ing, and they are. They would definitely make the. It would definitely make the rolling a lot easier. Which is to say that if you really want to go for the maximum in efficiency in rolling, I would recommend the Falcon Heavy. Pre-launch, by the way. Once you launch, you've got the descent fins, and that's no good for food. That said, if you're charring a steak, Falcon Heavy, once again. All right. I don't know if I need to use my noodle basket for this one, but we're going to use it anyway, because I like using it. If anything else, I just like doing the shakeout. We should turn the fan on, because there's going to be a lot of moisture in here in about a second. How is our soup base heating up? Oh, right, I need to mix that up. Okay. So actually, we don't need to use all of that. I'm going to pour this back into here. Yes, yes. Okay, and 2 cups is exactly what we need for the broth. It says 2 1/4, but I think 2 is going to be fine. Then we need a tablespoon of mirins. Shouldn't have put that back. Good job, me. Okay. No, USB, get out of the fridge. Thank you. So we'll put in just under a. Actually, you know what? Let's add the noodles. Let's start here. Get in. "13-minute timer. We want to give it a little stir to keep them from bunching up. A little shake often is fine too. And then just let that stick. Mirin. We're going to give it just under a tablespoon. So we're eyeballing now. We eyeballing. Teaspoon of sugar. Where am I looking at here? It looks like about a teaspoon there. Let's bring you over here so you can enjoy that. Teaspoon of sugar is sugared. One tablespoon of soy sauce, and then a half teaspoon of salt. So just under there. Good. And where's my kosher salt? Just give that a slight dash. Good. And then, where's my... okay, these are starting to bump up nice and good. Look at that. Could probably use a bit more water, TBH. I'm just going to toss that on its side for the moment. Let's bring that up to 3, and hopefully we can get this up to heat. Looks there's not going to be much broth here. Let me just taste that though. Oh my. Oh wow. Oh. Oh. Oh, that is amazing. Holy moly. Fresh is better. I know what Subway's trying to say with that, but they're not wrong. Oh shoot! My onions! Can't have udon without some green onions on top. Let's do a quick wash and chop with one of these guys before we lose the track. We also need to get the water cooled down because that's going to become necessary in just a second. Okay. Good. Onion is clean. Happy. I'm happy. The onion, I could care less how the onion feels about all this. Let's just dry that off a bit. Can't stand it when my onions are too wet. Okay, where's my knife? White parts. We're going to want the white parts as well anyway. Don't need the root. I'm not going to try planting that, so don't at me. And then let's just chop that up. Okay. That's the whites. Now the greens. I like to cut my onion at a jaunty angle, but your onion is your own, and only you can decide how to cut it. Okay. Udon's looking mighty good. Oh, still stretching it out. Well, Sir Markov, if you've already had your dinner, here's the thing. If you want to make udon like what we're having tonight, start now. And by the time you finish, you'll be hungry again. Okay. So I think I'm only going to get a cup of liquid in there, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. Ah, so close, I can taste it. I mean, I'm so close to being able to taste it. I think to myself that this is too much time to cook the noodles, but honestly, I keep forgetting that these are fresh noodles, and they need time to get all the way down. Snowhuggy says I should eat udon tomorrow. I've store-bought udon noodles. Go with it. Maybe try making some. Maybe try making some aburage. Maybe try making some fresh, bonito dashi. Skyline chili is Cincinnati ramen. Are you feeling okay, Nikus? Are you having a, are you dissociating? Or is Skyline chili a thing that I am absolutely not aware of? Oop. I just love adding bonito to rice cookers. Holy moly. But yeah, CJ, this is my first experience tonight making dashi flake based bonito, katsuobushi based, the fish flake based bonito broth. Wilson's stepbrother asks, may I ask, what is Kitsune Udon? Kitsune Udon is specifically the udon with green onions, naruto, and inari age, the stewed sweet fried tofu skins that apparently foxes love. So yeah, America's got a description in there as well. Cincinnati chili is a Mediterranean spiced meat sauce that's used as a topping for spaghetti or hot dogs. Both dishes were developed by the Macedonian immigrant restaurants in the 1920s. Interesting. So that tells me that Sonic the Hedgehog is absolutely a Cincinnatiite at heart. Oh, CJ, you wanted to try it because of the Midnight Diner. Other people have mentioned the that very episode here tonight, and to me previously this week. I think Beach was actually telling me about Midnight Diner while we were out filming the food badminton bit. Okay. How are we doing time-wise? 3 minutes left on 13. I think at 13 we are fully cooked at that point. In fact, I'm going to do a little sneaky here. I'm going to grab the end of a noodle and attempt to just pinch it off. No, I'm just going to bite it. Ah! Holy moly. You know what? These are just so close to being done. It's just a little bit of uncooked flavor right in the center, but it's just about to go away. Got me making curry ramen from Golden Curry Pack. It's instant Shio ramen. Hey, that's a good. I obviously hadn't got to that episode yet. Aha! Thank you, Malady Dark, for finally giving a real answer to me as well as to why it's called the Kitsune Udon. So it's Kitsune because of these bags. These are technically hollow on the inside, and especially in Oden, I've never seen them done this way for udon, but in Oden, they are used like a bag, and you put a piece of mochi inside it and then tie it off with konbu. And so that makes perfect sense with the goddess of money and rice being the Kitsune. Bean curd bags look like sacks used to hold rice. Leave the actual sack rice and offering. I get it now. Perfect. Instant ramen puck for food badminton. I mean, maybe what if we stuck a stick on the end of a cup ramen puck and used that as the racket? Makes a lot more sense than what I found, which is said that the fried tofu is a fox's favorite food. Yeah, you know, it turns out finding reliable sources of Japanese cultural quirks online is not easy. Which is why I get all of my cultural education from translators' notes. It's not true. Where is my beverage? There you are. Okay, coming up in 40 seconds. I'm going to call it there. I think we're good. Turning off the heat. Shaking it out. I'm going to throw these underneath cold water now, because we want to rinse off all of that excess starch from the cooking process. Drain them real good. Be on camera when I do so. Okay, let's switch it over here. Bring it back into the loading zone. Mother busser. Oh my god, what have I done? Well, I'm gonna have to rinse these noodles again. Good thing I didn't have any soap in that that dish. Stop. Stop! Yeah, I shook too hard and too vigorously, and the noodles popped right out. So we're just going to throw those here. And then we're going to take about a cup of the... couple spoonfuls of that. So there's not much of it. We'll add one of these, maybe a couple just because. Throw in some Narutos. Arrange them all nice. Top it with a bit of green onions on there. Sprinkle some of those in. And friends, Bob is your uncle. Where is my... All right, let's take this over to the booth and find out what this is like flavor-wise. There we go. Get that right up in camera there. Oh, ho, ho. That is... Now, there's one more thing here. One more thing that I need to add. I'm just going to push that down into the broth, these inari sacks. Push the whole thing in so it stays nice and warm. The last thing I like to add, I'm not going to put it on just yet because I want to take a unmolested bite, is this, which I just bought recently, a fresh package of. Shichimi Togorashi. That's the 7 Shichi. Togorashi being spice. And why is it called that? Well, because it's made of 7 different spices. The problem is that you'll often see it just referred to as Togorashi in stores. And that's not right, because Togorashi just means hot spice. It's the 7 that's important, because that means it has 7 spices, including, what have we got in here? Chili pepper, dried tangerine peel. I think that's supposed to be tangerine peel. Sesame seed, sansho pepper, which is a vital part of Shichimi no Togorashi. Green lavender, poppy seed, and ginger. Caution, contains sesame seed. You know, because it said sesame seeds. But first, I want to get that raw noodle action. What's that flavor like? I really, really wish that I paid people way too much money to clean up a set for me, because that is mic-droppingly good. That is, holy moly. This is the best udon I have ever had. Let's see about that kitsune. Is that the way I want it to be? Whoa. Okay. That could use a little less, or that could use the Utsukushi soy sauce to be a little less intense, but that is intense. And that is definitely an, an inari age. Okay, I want one more though. I'm gonna try with a little togarashi here. And then we can look at closing this thing out here. Holy moly. Great Scott. Okay, let me see if I can actually describe what's going on here before I dive right into it again. Okay, the fresh togarashi didn't help. Okay, so the noodle. The exterior's got a slipperiness to it, but not, it's not falling apart. The noodle is quite firm and has almost like a double bubble on a hot day texture to it. Like, it's firm, but the minute you start biting it, it starts to yield, but it's still chewy, extremely chewy, but not hard, not unpleasant. And the level of salt on the inside is sublime with onion. And togarashi. Try with a bite of Naruto here too. Whoa. The Naruto adds a bit more protein, a bit of sweetness to it, but a different kind of sweetness. And I think I could have let those noodles go for maybe 14 minutes. But that is right about the range we want them to be. Friends, we have made udon. We have done it from scratch, and I am extremely happy to say that this has been one heck of a successful build. Just about knocked those scissors off into my foot. That's cool. God. If you like what you see here, we do other stuff. Video games, Magic the Gathering, board games sometimes when we're allowed to be in the same place as other people. You can find that all over at youtube.com/loadingreadyrun. That's where a good chunk of our stuff is. Some might say some of our best stuff, but we have a lot of stuff as well. All these streams we do over at youtube.com/loadingreadylive. That's where they live after they've been processed, after their inevitable ending. Of course, twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun is where we are right now. YouTube people, go check us out. We might be streaming something cool at the moment. If you want to find out what's coming up, you can go to our website at no, not YouTube. No more YouTube. It's all about loadingreadyrun.com. That's where all the great shows live. You can find links to all the stuff we do there, especially to our schedule at loadingreadyrun.com/live, where you can find out where all these streamed shows are going to be happening and when and what they are. Tomorrow's something. Magic's in the evening. Friday Night Magic happens there. You can check out my home stream at /tiltyhouse if you want to watch some Yakuza. That said, we have to thank, well, we don't have to, but in my heart, I have to, because you are all so incredibly generous with your donations over at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun. That's where you get to help us keep the lights on and allow us to do all sorts of silly, fun things, including this particular show. But as well, there are those of you, and there's a lot of you, and we like to thank them, who contribute here at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun with your bits and subs. And I'm gonna read out a bunch of them and thank you for said things. That's why everything's messed up. I forgot to set up other lights. Haha! Things to remember for next time after we empty the dishwasher. Let's thank some subs, starting with, I want to say Captain Ender, who subscribed for 93 months. That might be a duplicate, but if it is, you get dubs. Thanks for being a member. Want to thank as well Evocron, who has been here for 92 months. That's Evocron 13, by the way, saying, ooh, udon. They're really good. The udon's really good. Zato69 giving us some bits. Thank you for those bits. Ferocious Peach coming in at 65 months of subscription. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you as well to Isaiah Jenner for 45 months of subscription. Thank you. Lady Elieros comes in with 37 months of subscription, saying, touched by his noodly appendage. I need more mouth touch with the noodly in a second here. Corplex, 100 bits, saying I'm a bit late to the stream. I didn't see the ingredients that went into udon. Is kensui used rather than make the udon noodles? Or is that just for making ramen? Just ramen. Oh, we used flour, salt, water, and foot power. Broken Golem coming in with 56 months of resubscription. Thank you, Broken Golem, for that continued support. Heaps Irrelevant has subscribed for the 58th month. Thank you for your support continually and continually. Thy Eggman. Well, thank you, Thy Eggman, has subscribed for 25 months, a quarter century of something. And it continues to happen. And of course, the Evan Bird dropped 10 gift subs on the channel. Thank you so much for those subs to the Evan Bird, and thank you to the receptacles of said subs for being hanging out in the chat. Dark Morford coming in with 88 months, saying, "Hey, somebody put these infinity symbols on the wrong way up." You got me, damn it! You got me in the middle of the read. Thank you, Dark Morford. And thank you as well to Not King nor Able for those 500 bits. Well, I know what I'm making this weekend, and I hope it's udon. Friend, it's been a great time here on the channel. Hugely successful in terms of our cooking. I feel like I've leveled up a bit here again. Thanks again to all of you who are patrons, donors, bits, and subscribers. Thank you to those of you who are chatting away in the chat with us. Thank you to those of you who are watching and just lurking the channel. And thanks to you who are on YouTube watching us in the future. We'll be back in one fortnight of time for another episode of Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Fry. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be a time. And we'll see you in that time. Time to go. Ever forward, never learning.